The large spaceship named Harmony moved slowly through the darkness of space. Inside, Chief Scientist Tae-jin Kim walked quickly down the hallway. His heart beat faster than normal. After 20 years of searching, his team had found something important. Jiu, are the cameras working? Tae-jin asked as he entered the main room. Jiu Park looked up from her screen and nodded. Yes, everything is recording. The council will get all the information. Tae-jin stood next to her and looked at the large screen. It showed a blue and green planet spinning slowly. Earth, home to the creatures called humans. How did we miss them for so long? Asked Tae-jin, the doctor who took care of the crew. She joined them at the main screen, her eyes wide with wonder. They live in a quiet part of the galaxy, said Tae-jin, and they have not yet built technology that would make them easy to find. The three aliens watched the screen as it showed different views of Earth. They saw cities full of tall buildings. They saw roads filled with cars. They saw oceans and mountains and forests, and everywhere they saw humans. Jiu touched the screen to zoom in on a city. They build so much with such simple tools. And look how they live so close together, added Tae-jin. Thousands in one building sometimes. Tae-jin nodded and made notes on his tablet. The Galactic Council wanted to know everything about these newly discovered creatures. Were they dangerous? Were they friendly? Could they someday join the Council with the other 500 species from across the galaxy? Let's see them up closer, said Tae-jin. Jiu pressed more buttons. The screen changed to show people walking on a busy street. The three aliens watched with great interest. They looked so plain, said Tae-jin. No natural protection. No claws. No special abilities like other species we know. She was right. Humans walked on two legs. They had two arms. Their skin was soft and could be damaged easily. Their teeth were small. They could not run very fast compared to many animals on their own planet. They could not fly. They could not breathe underwater. Yet they control their whole planet, said Tae-jin. How? The screen changed again to show different scenes. Humans building tall towers. Humans diving deep in the ocean. Humans climbing mountains covered in snow and ice. Humans running long distances under the hot sun. Their bodies should not be able to do these things, said Tae-jin, checking the data on her medical screen. Look at their heart rates, their temperature, the stress on their muscles. They are pushing themselves too hard. They should stop. But they don't stop, said Jiu. They keep going. Tae-jin walked to another screen and studied the information. The most interesting thing is not what they can do, but how they think about what they do. He pointed to a human climbing a steep mountain while hanging by just their fingers on tiny rock edges. This activity has a high chance of death. The human knows this, but they do it anyway, and not for food or to escape danger. They do it because they want to. That's not normal behavior, said Tae-jin. No species should take risks when they don't need to. But that's exactly it, said Tae-jin, his voice getting excited. To humans, this is normal. They don't see it as strange. The three continued watching the screens as more information came in from the small robot cameras they had secretly sent to Earth. Humans running into burning buildings to save others. Humans working until they fell asleep at their desks. Humans jumping out of flying machines for fun. Humans eating food that hurt their mouths just to show they could do it. I don't understand, said Jiu after several hours. Why do they push themselves so hard? What are they trying to prove? Tae-jin shook his head. I don't think they're trying to prove anything. This is just how they are. A new alert sounded. One of the robot cameras had found something important. The screen changed to show a scene from a place the humans called a hospital. A human doctor had been working for 20 hours straight. According to the data, this human had not slept, had eaten only one small meal, and had helped save 5 lives in that time. The doctor's body is showing signs of extreme stress, said Tae-jin, reading the medical information. Low blood sugar, high stress hormones, need for sleep. But look, they are still working on another patient. Can we hear what they're saying? Asked Tae-jin. Jiu turned up the sound. Dr. Kim, you should take a break. You've been here all day and night. said a nurse to the tired doctor. The doctor shook her head. I'm fine. This patient needs the surgery now. I'll rest after. Taejin, Jiu, and Haejin looked at each other. She said she's fine, whispered Haejin. But our readings show she is not fine at all. She knows she's not fine, said Taejin. But in her mind, her own needs are less important than the needs of the patient. The three aliens watched in silence as the human doctor continued to work, her hands steady even as her body begged for rest. I think we may have discovered the most important thing about humans, said Taejin finally. What's that? Asked Jiu. They don't accept limits. Not from their bodies, not from their world, not from anything. When most species find a limit, they accept it as the natural order. Humans see limits as challenges to overcome. Is that good or bad? Asked Haejin. Taejin thought for a moment. I don't know, but I do know it makes them very different from any species we've found before. He turned to his team. We need to keep watching, learn everything we can. The Council needs to understand these humans before deciding whether to make contact. As the ship Harmony continued to orbit Earth hidden from human detection, Taejin began writing his first report. At the top he wrote, Humans, a species without normal limitations. Then he stopped and crossed it out. He wrote a new title, The Most Terrifying Thing About Humans? They think they're normal, because that was the truth. What other species would consider extreme? Humans considered everyday life, and any species that thought like that was either going to destroy itself very quickly, or become one of the most powerful forces in the galaxy. The question was, which path would humans take? Taejin hoped they would have enough time to find the answer before humans discovered they weren't alone in the universe. 3 months passed since the alien ship Harmony began watching Earth. The ship stayed hidden behind Earth's moon, sending small camera robots to collect information about humans. Every day, the alien crew learned more about these strange creatures. Today, Taejin Kim called his team together for a big meeting. The room had a large round table with screens built into it. The walls were also covered with screens showing different scenes from Earth. Everyone, please sit down, said Taejin. We need to share what we have learned. Jiu Park sat next to him. She was in charge of watching human behavior. Haejin, the doctor, sat across from them with her medical charts. 5 other aliens from different parts of the ship joined them around the table. A large screen on the wall turned on. The face of Council Representative Minjae appeared. He was joining the meeting from the home planet millions of miles away. Greetings, Taejin, said Minjae. The Council is very interested in your findings about humans. Please tell us what you have discovered. Taejin nodded and touched some buttons on the table. First, let me show you how humans live. The screens around the room showed different scenes. Cities filled with tall buildings, small towns with houses close together, farms with fields of crops and boats on the ocean. Humans have spread to almost every part of their planet, explained Taejin. They live in very hot places, very cold places, dry places, wet places, everywhere. They change their surroundings to suit them instead of only living where conditions are already good. Interesting, said Minjae. What about their daily habits? Jiu stood up and took control of the screens. This is one of the most surprising things we found. Humans only sleep for about 1/3 of their day. Some sleep even less. She showed videos of humans staying awake for long hours, working late, into the night under artificial light. Most species we know sleep when it gets dark, said Jiu. But humans created light so they could keep working or playing. They seem to think sleep is sometimes a waste of time. That's not healthy, said Haejin, looking at her medical data. Their bodies need rest. Their brains need time to clean out waste products, but they ignore these needs. Do they get sick from this? Asked Minjae. Yes, said Haejin, but they continue anyway. They drink bitter drinks with stimulants to stay awake longer. The screen showed humans drinking coffee, energy drinks, and tea. Let me show you something even more unusual, said Taejin. The eye. Screens changed to show humans doing different physical activities, running long distances, lifting heavy weights, climbing mountains, swimming in cold water. They call this exercise, explained Taijin. They make their bodies uncomfortable on purpose. They push until their muscles hurt, until they can hardly breathe, until they sweat and shake. Are they being forced to do this? Asked Minjae with concern. No, that's the strange part, said Jiyu. They choose to do it. They pay money to do it. They wake up early to do it. Many seem to enjoy the discomfort. Heijin pointed to her medical charts. Look at what happens to their bodies. Heart rate goes very high. They breathe fast. Muscles tear slightly. They feel pain. But the next day they do it again. But why? Asked Minjae. They believe it makes them stronger, said Taijin. And they are right. Their bodies adapt to stress. The small damage heals and makes them better able to handle more stress next time. The council representative looked confused. Is this normal behavior for an intelligent species? That's exactly our point, said Taijin. To humans, this is normal. They think other species would do the same things. They don't see how unusual they are. Jiyu changed the screens again. Now let's talk about how humans handle danger. The screen showed scenes of human firefighters running into burning buildings, police officers confronting armed criminals, doctors treating patients with deadly diseases, and ordinary people helping others during floods, earthquakes, and storms. When there is danger, many humans run toward it instead of away from it, said Jiyu, especially if other humans need help. This makes no sense, said Minjae. Self-preservation is the most basic instinct of all living things. Not for humans, said Taijin. They often put others first, not just their own family members, but complete strangers. Sometimes even animals. There must be a reason, insisted Minjae. Maybe they get special rewards or status for this behavior? Sometimes, said Jiyu, but often there is no reward. No one even knows what they did. They just help because they think it's the right thing to do. Heijin touched some buttons on the table. We found something in their brain chemistry that might explain this. When humans help others, their brains release chemicals that make them feel good. They get pleasure from making others safe or happy. That's a strange evolutionary development, said Minjae. It helped them survive as a group, explained Taijin. Humans are not strong alone. They don't have sharp teeth or claws. They can't run very fast. But together they are very powerful. Those who helped the group survived better than those who only helped themselves. The screens now showed humans laughing together, sharing food, working on projects as teams, and celebrating in large groups. Humans need each other, said Jiyu. They get sick when they are alone too long. Their bodies actually hurt from loneliness. Let me show you one more thing, said Taijin. The screen changed to show humans doing seemingly crazy things, jumping off high places with parachutes, riding fast vehicles over rough ground, swimming with dangerous sea animals, eating extremely spicy food that caused pain. They call this having fun or seeking thrills, explained Taijin. They do dangerous things on purpose because they enjoy the feeling of fear and excitement. This can't be normal, said Minjae. To humans it is, said Taijin. That's what makes them so hard to understand. What we consider extreme, they consider Tuesday. The room fell quiet as everyone thought about this. Finally, Minjae spoke. What do you recommend? Should we make contact with humans? Taijin looked at his team, then back at the council representative. Not yet. We need more time to study them. Humans are unpredictable. If they feel threatened, we don't know what they might do. And if they decide to help us with our problems, he paused. They might change everything. Keep watching, ordered Minjae. Report anything unusual. After the meeting ended, Jiyu turned to Taijin. Should we tell him that with humans unusual is usual? Taijin smiled slightly. I think the council is starting to understand that the most terrifying thing about humans isn't that they're dangerous. It's that they have no idea how extraordinary they are. The screens continue to show scenes of human life. Ordinary to them, amazing to the watching aliens. Day 112 of the observation mission started like any other day. Taijin woke up in his small room on the ship Harmony. He checked the screens that showed different parts of Earth. Everything seemed normal. Humans were doing what they always did, working, playing, eating, talking. Tajan walked to the main control room where GU was already looking at the screens. "Good morning," said Tajan. "Anything interesting happening?" GU shook her head. "Just the usual, humans being humans." Hajan joined them with cups of hot drink for everyone. "I checked the medical data from yesterday. Humans continue to surprise me. Did you know their bones can get stronger after they break? What kind of design is that?" They all watched the screens, making notes about what they saw. After 4 months of watching Earth, they had learned so much, but they still had many questions. Suddenly, an alarm sounded. One of the robot cameras had detected something unusual. Tajan quickly pressed buttons to see what was happening. The screen showed a forest, in what humans called northern Canada. Trees were burning. Flames jumped from one tree to the next. Smoke filled the air. "A forest fire," said Tajan. "It's moving fast because of strong winds." "Is it near any humans?" asked Hajan. GU checked her screen. "Yes. There's a small town, just a few miles from the fire. About 500 humans live there." The 3 aliens watched as the fire grew bigger. It moved toward the town, pushed by the wind. "The humans need to leave that area," said Hajan. "The fire will reach them in a few hours." They watched as the town became aware of the danger. Alarms sounded. People came out of their houses and looked at the smoke in the sky. "They'll run away now," said Hajan. But that's not what happened. Instead of running away, the humans in the town started getting organized. Some people got into special trucks with water tanks, others gathered tools, they made phone calls. More people arrived from other towns. "What are they doing?" asked Hajan. "Why aren't they leaving?" "I think they're going to fight the fire," said Tajan. The 3 aliens watched in shock as the humans moved toward the fire, not away from it. They formed lines. They dug in the dirt to make barriers. They cut down trees in the fire's path. They sprayed water on houses to protect them. "This is madness," said Hajan. "The fire is too big, they can't stop it." "They know that," said Tajan, "but they're trying to save their town anyway." The ship's communicator made a sound. It was Minjay, the council representative. "Tajan, our sensors detected a large fire near a human settlement. Are you watching this?" "Yes, council representative," said Tajan. "We're seeing everything." "Good," said Minjay. "Remember our rules. No interference. We observe only. We cannot help the humans, no matter what happens." "I understand," said Tajan, though his voice was quiet. The aliens watched as the humans fought the fire hour after hour. The flames got closer to the town. The smoke was thick. The heat was extreme. Hajan looked at her medical scanner. "These humans are in danger. Look at their vital signs: high heart rates, breathing problems from the smoke, body temperatures too high. They should stop and rest." But the humans didn't stop. "Look at this one," said GU, pointing to a screen that showed a human firefighter. The firefighter had been working for hours. His clothes were black with soot. He looked tired. He had trouble breathing. But he kept working, digging a line in the dirt to stop the fire. Suddenly, the firefighter fell down. He couldn't breathe well because of the smoke. "He needs help," said Hajan. Within seconds, 2 other humans ran to the fallen firefighter. They carried him away from the fire to a safer place. They gave him oxygen from a tank. A doctor checked him. "They're taking care of him," said GU. "Yes, but look," said Tajan, pointing at the screen. "Someone else has taken his place in the line." Another human had picked up the fallen firefighter's tool and continued digging where he had stopped. "I don't understand," said Hajan. "Why do they keep fighting? The fire is too big." "They're protecting their homes," said GU. "Everything they have is in that town." "But they could die," said Hajan. "They know," said Tajan, "but they've decided the risk is worth it." Hour after hour, the humans fought the fire. They worked through the night. They didn't sleep. Many got hurt. Some had trouble breathing. Others had burns. But they kept fighting. Finally, after 23 hours, something changed. The wind shifted direction. It pushed the fire away from the town instead of toward it. The humans had managed to create a barrier that kept the fire from reaching most buildings. The town was saved, not completely. Some houses at the edge were burned, but most of the town survived. The humans didn't celebrate. They looked tired. They sat down wherever they were. They drank water. They checked each other for injuries. Then they started cleaning up and fixing what was damaged. "They're acting like this is normal," said Hagen. "Like fighting a huge fire is just another day." "To them it is normal," said Tajan. "When there's a problem, they work together to solve it, even if it's dangerous, even if it hurts them." The three aliens were quiet for a long time, watching the humans recover from their battle with the fire. Finally, Tajan spoke. "I need to tell the council about this." "But we send reports every week," said GU. "We can include this in the next one." Tajan shook his head. "This is too important to wait. The council needs to understand something about humans that I don't think they realize yet." "What's that?" asked Hagen. "Humans consider heroism normal," said Tajan. "They expect themselves and each other to be brave, to help, to fight against danger. It's not special to them. It's just what they believe they should do." That night, after the others had gone to sleep, Tajan wrote a special message to the council. At the top he wrote, "Urgent. Humans consider heroism normal behavior." In his message, he included all the videos of the fire and how the humans fought it. He explained what it meant that humans would risk death to save their community, and how they didn't even think it was unusual. Before he sent the message, he added one more note. If humans ever felt truly threatened as a species, there would be no way to predict what they might do. What other species would consider impossible, humans would attempt without hesitation. This makes them both fascinating and potentially dangerous. We must study them more before considering any contact. Tajan sent the message and went to his room. As he lay in bed, he thought about the humans fighting the fire. He wondered if his own people would do the same. He wasn't sure, and that thought kept him awake for a long time. 2 weeks after the forest fire, Tajan stood in front of a large door. He was no longer on the ship Harmony. He was now on the home planet of the Galactic Council. The message he had sent about the humans fighting the fire had caused great concern. The council had called him to come and speak to them in person. "Are you ready?" asked Jiu, who stood next to him. She had come with him to help explain what they had seen during their months watching Earth. Tajan nodded. "I'm ready." The large doors opened slowly. Tajan and Jiu walked into the Grand Council chamber. It was a huge round room with hundreds of seats rising up like steps from the center. In these seats sat representatives from over 300 different planets and species. Some looked almost like humans. Others were very different. Some had many arms. Some had scales instead of skin. Some floated instead of walked. In the center of the room was a small platform. Tajan and Jiu walked to it and waited. High Counselor Suho stood up. He was an older alien with gray skin and large eyes. "Tajan Kim, you have asked to speak directly to the council about the humans you have been watching. This is unusual. Most reports come through normal channels. Why do you think this matter is so important?" Tajan took a deep breath. "High Counselor, members of the council, thank you for seeing me. I believe humans are unlike any species we have found before. After watching them for 4 months, I am still surprised by them almost every day." "We have read your reports," said Suho. "Tell us what concerns you most." Tajan touched a small device on his wrist. A large screen appeared in the air above the platform. It showed scenes from Earth, humans doing normal things like working, eating together, taking care of children. "At first glance, humans seem simple," said Tajan. "They are not very strong compared to many species. They are not very fast. They have no natural armor or weapons. Their technology is less advanced than ours." He changed the screen to show the forest fire and the humans fighting it. "But they have one quality that makes them different from any species I have studied. They routinely do things that put themselves in danger to help others, and they consider this normal behavior." The Council members watched the screens with great interest. Many had never seen humans before. "Are we certain this isn't unusual behavior?" asked Counselor Suho. "Perhaps we just saw one special group of humans?" Taijin shook his head. "After the fire, we looked at 16 different places around their planet. The pattern is the same everywhere. Humans help each other, even strangers, even when it puts them in danger." Representative Yunju stood up. She was from a planet where logic and reason were highly valued. But why would they do this? It makes no sense. No species should risk itself for others outside its family group. It goes against basic survival instincts. Jiyu stepped forward. "We believe it's connected to how humans evolved. They survived as groups, not as individuals. A human alone would die quickly against the predators of early Earth. But humans together, working as a team, could survive and even control their environment." Hyjin had also come to the meeting. She stood up from her seat near the front. "I've studied their biology. Humans get actual physical pleasure from helping others. Their brains release chemicals that make them feel good when they cooperate, or when they save someone from danger." "This is still not logical," insisted Yunju. "Even with brain rewards, the risk is too high." "Humans don't always follow logic," said Taijin. "They follow something they call feelings or emotions. These can be stronger than their sense of self-preservation." He changed the screen again. Now it showed scenes from human history. People running into danger to save others. People giving food to strangers during hard times. People standing up against stronger forces to protect their beliefs. "We've studied their historical records," continued Taijin. "During their worst conflicts, individuals would knowingly sacrifice themselves to protect others. They call it heroism or courage, but to them, it's also just doing what's right." The council was silent for a moment. Then Suho asked, "Do they have weapons that could harm other planets?" "Yes," said Taijin. "They have nuclear weapons. They developed them, used them twice against each other, then stopped. Not because they couldn't make more, but because they decided they shouldn't. They put moral limits on their own power." This caused more whispers among the council. "A species that limits its own power based on moral beliefs?" said Yunju. "This is, unusual." "Everything about humans is unusual," said Taijin. "They push themselves beyond what seems possible. They help strangers without expecting anything in return. They put moral limits on what they could do. They consider self-sacrifice normal." He turned off the screen and looked at the council members. If humans ever joined the galactic community and learned there was suffering or injustice elsewhere, they might feel compelled to help, even at great cost to themselves. This could change everything. Suho spoke to the full council. "We must decide what to do about Earth. Should we make contact with humans? Should we continue watching them? Or should we stay away completely?" The council members talked among themselves for a long time. Taijin, Jiyu, and Hyjin waited quietly. Finally, Suho spoke again. "Taijin Kim, you have studied humans closely. What do you recommend?" Taijin thought carefully before answering. "Humans are still developing. They have problems on their own planet, wars, hunger, damage to their environment. But they're working to solve these problems. I believe they have great potential. However, I don't think they're ready for contact yet. And I'm not sure we're ready for them." "Why not?" asked Yunju. "Because humans would change us," said Taijin. "Their willingness to help others, to sacrifice for strangers, to put moral values above self-interest. These qualities would challenge our own beliefs and behaviors. Some of us might find this uncomfortable." The council talked again. After an hour, they voted. Suho announced the result. "The council has decided. Earth will remain under observation. We will not make contact at this time, but we will establish a permanent observation station in orbit around Earth. We need to understand humans better before we decide whether to welcome them into the galactic community." After the meeting, Taijin, Jiyu, and Heijin walked together down the long hallway outside the council chamber. "Do you think we made the right recommendation?" asked Jiyu. Taijin nodded slowly. "I think so. Humans need more time to develop, and we need more time to understand them. What still puzzles me, said Heijin, is how they can do such extraordinary things and think it's just normal. That, said Teijin, is what makes them both wonderful and terrifying. The most remarkable thing about humans isn't what they can do. It's that they have no idea how special they are. The three aliens looked out a large window at the stars. Somewhere out there, Earth continued spinning, and humans continued being human, thinking that their extraordinary behavior was perfectly normal. 5 years passed. Teijin sat in his private office on the observation station that orbited Earth. The small station was hidden behind cloaking technology, so humans couldn't see it. After the council meeting, Teijin had been put in charge of the permanent Earth observation team. Each day, he and his team watched humans and wrote reports about what they saw. Teijin looked at the screen on his desk. It showed a city at night, lights shining in thousands of windows. He had grown to admire humans during these years of watching them. They still surprised him with their strength, their kindness, and their strange habits. A soft sound at the door made him look up. Jiyu stood there. She had stayed with the observation team all these years. You should see this, she said. Her voice sounded worried. Teijin followed her to the main control room. Several other aliens were already there looking at the large screens with concerned faces. What happened? Asked Teijin. Heijin pointed to one of the screens. The humans have detected something. They know someone is watching them. Teijin felt a chill. How? Our technology is advanced. They shouldn't be able to see us or detect our signals. They're more clever than we thought, said Heijin. Their scientists noticed small changes in the area behind their moon. They built new tools to look more carefully. They found traces of our station. What are they doing about it? Asked Teijin. Jiyu touched some controls. Another screen showed a large satellite dish on Earth. They're sending messages toward our location. Listen. She turned up the sound. A human voice came through the speakers. Hello. We know you're there. We don't know who you are or where you come from, but we would like to meet you. We come in peace. We want to learn from you and share what we know. Please respond when you're ready. The message repeated in several languages. They're not afraid, said Heijin. They detected an alien presence and their first response is to invite contact. The council won't like this, said Teijin. They wanted more time before humans knew about other life in the galaxy. It's too late now, said Jiyu. What should we do? Before Teijin could answer, another alert sounded. A message was coming in from the Galactic Council. The face of High Counselor Suho appeared on the main screen. Teijin, we have received your emergency report about the humans detecting your presence. This is concerning. What do you recommend? Teijin thought carefully before answering. Hi, Counselor, I believe we have 3 choices. We could move our station and hide better. We could block their signals and continue watching without responding. Or we could answer their call and begin official contact. What are they saying in these messages? Asked Suho. They want to meet us, said Teijin. They say they come in peace. They want to share knowledge. Can we trust them? Asked Suho. Teijin looked at Jiyu and Heijin before answering. After watching humans for 5 years, I believe most of them would welcome peaceful contact. They are curious by nature. They want to learn. But there's something else you should know, said Jiyu. She pressed more buttons to show a different screen. Human scientists have made a big breakthrough in space travel technology. They're close to developing faster than light travel. Even if we hide now, they will be able to find us within 10 or 20 years. This news seemed to surprise Suho. So soon? Our earlier estimates gave them at least 50 more years. They work very hard when they're excited about something, said Teijin, and nothing excites them more than space exploration. Suho was quiet for a moment. Then he said, The council will discuss this immediately. Stay on alert and do not respond to the humans yet. The screen went dark. Teijin, Jiyu, and Heijin waited nervously. The other staff continued their work, monitoring Earth and collecting data. What do you think the council will decide? Asked Heijin. I don't know, said Teijin. Contact with a new species is always a big step. But humans are especially unpredictable. Have we learned enough about them in 5 years? asked Jiyu. Taejin smiled slightly. I don't think we could learn everything about humans in 500 years. They keep changing, adapting, surprising us. A few hours later, Suho called back. He looked serious. The council has reached a decision, he said. We will establish first contact with humans. Taejin was surprised. So soon? I thought the council wanted more time. We did, said Suho. But two things have changed. First, the humans now know they're not alone. We can't change that. Second, their technology is advancing faster than we expected. It's better to make friends now than wait until they can find us on their own. When should we make contact? Asked Taejin. In 1 month, said Suho. That will give us time to prepare. You and your team will be the first to meet them officially. After Suho's image disappeared, the room was quiet. Everyone felt the weight of what was happening. They would be the first aliens to meet humans face to face. Are we ready for this? Asked Taejin. I don't think anyone is ever ready to meet humans, said Taejin with a small laugh. They will probably surprise us again. Later that night, Taejin stood alone by the large window in his office. He could see Earth in the distance, a beautiful blue and green ball in the blackness of space. He thought about all he had learned about humans in these years. Jiyu came in and stood beside him. What are you thinking about? She asked. Taejin kept looking at Earth. I was thinking about what we feared most when we first found humans. We worried they might be hostile or dangerous. They can be, said Jiyu. They've had terrible wars. Yes, agreed Taejin. But that's not what makes them special. What makes them special is how they keep trying to be better. They fight and make mistakes and hurt each other, but they also heal and forgive and try again. Do you think they're ready to join the galactic community? Asked Jiyu. Taejin thought, for a moment. I think the real question is the galactic community ready for them? Humans will change everything. They'll want to help solve everyone's problems. They'll push boundaries, they'll ask hard questions. Like what? Asked Jiyu. Like why some species have so much while others have so little. Like why we observe suffering but don't always help. Like why we don't push ourselves harder to be better. Jiyu nodded slowly. I see what you mean. Humans will challenge us. Yes, said Taejin, but maybe that's exactly what we need. He turned away from the window and went to his desk. He had one more report to write before first contact began. At the top, he wrote, Final assessment, humans. Then he added, For centuries, advanced civilizations feared discovering hostile aliens, beings who might destroy or conquer us. Instead, we found humans. We found creatures who walk willingly into fire to save others and consider it normal. That is why humans challenged us, not because they're hostile, but because they make the rest of us question what normal should be. In 1 month, humans will join the galactic community. They are not ready. We are not ready. But perhaps that's how growth always feels. A little too soon, a little too fast, a little too scary. The humans would say that's normal. Taejin sent the report, then looked again at the blue planet that would soon change everything for everyone. He was afraid, but also excited. Meeting humans face to face would be challenging. It would be strange. It would be wonderful. It would be, as humans like to say, an adventure.